I just want to get a pulse really quick for the room. How many of you in here are K-12 teacher or work with K-12 curriculum? Okay, great. And then is there anyone beyond K-12? Okay, I think it's really important that we continue to connect with those educators below us and above us. It just helps set our students up for success to know that where we're coming from and where we're going, especially when it comes to building curriculum online. So with that said, we're going to jump into Canvas in the elementary. And before we get into the next slide, I did want to go back and talk to you a little bit about my job title change. So I have been our district elementary instructional technology coach for the last 3 years. Every year has been different. It's evolving based on the needs of our students and our teachers. It's evolving based on the number of devices that we have deployed. It's evolving based on where our curriculum is coming from and where it's going as a district. So this year I have been asked to be able to present professional development with all of our support staff. So our instructional coaches, our media specialists as that role continues to evolve, and our administration. So I'll be doing that while still supporting our teachers because we're kind of rolling through this process of what is Canvas in the elementary. So what does Canvas look like in the elementary anyways? It's obviously Kumbayawesome, of course. You've seen that in some of the other presentations if you've looked at curriculum and course design and all the great features that Canvas has to offer for our students to help personalize learning. Just a quick overview of our district. We're sitting at a little over 10,000 students. So if you're a district that's very similar to us, you can relate. We have 1 high school. We have 2 middle schools and 7 elementary schools. Currently, we have about 8,500 iOS devices deployed throughout our district and 4,000 computers. Grades 5 through 12 are one-to-one iPad, which is why we decided to look at a learning management system and why we realized that Canvas was the best fit for us. Our students were taking those iPads home. Our high school students actually have e-learning days built into the school year, so they're learning outside of the classroom. So it was important that when we made that transition to iPads that we had a tool to support them. We are elementary iPad one-to-one. Right now in 5th grade, we have pilots in our K through 4 classrooms. So when I say elementary, Canvas in the elementary, right now it's it's a little more heavy with our 5th grade classrooms, but we have these pilots set in place. I'm going to talk to you why I think that's really important for success if you're planning on rolling this out in your district. In our 2014-15 school year, we had 1 1st grade one-to-one classroom. That was it. There's other devices still deployed in all of our 1st grade classrooms, but in terms of one-to-one, 1 1st grade classroom, 1 2nd grade classroom, 3 3rd grade classrooms, 3 4th grade classrooms, and then 7 5th grade classrooms. And we were able to do that by writing a grant to the DOE. It was an e-learning grant, and that helped us purchase those devices and then most importantly provide professional development for those teachers. This year, as we move forward, we've had some staff changes. Teachers move around. Those iPads stay with them. So we actually are going to have a kindergarten teacher this year that will be one-to-one with iPads. And she actually taught 4th grade last year in a one-to-one classroom. So it's going to be really neat to see the difference between what that looks like in the kindergarten classroom. We will not have a 1st grade classroom because that teacher has moved to 5th grade. So we'll kind of see what we can do there in terms of 1st grade supporting those teachers that are not fully one-to-one. And then we'll have 2 3rd grades, 4 4th grades, and then, of course, all of our 5th grade went one-to-one last year. So we started with our high school, a lot of research, a lot of school visits to make sure this was successful. So we started in 2012. Devices and Canvas was available for students in the middle of the year of 2013. Last year, we moved into our middle schools, so we implemented there. Our 5th grade pilot classrooms were also part of that process of implementation. And then again, we had 7 full-day trainings that were spent with myself, and then also money to travel out and go to different conferences in Boston and other places. We deployed or created, I guess I should say, a group called our Canvas Ambassadors. We knew that we wanted to expose Canvas beyond just the one-to-one, so we invited a lot of our support staff, our instructional coaches, media specialists, technology lead tech teachers in each building, and our administration, along with just a group of K-4 teachers. We just wanted to say, hey, here's what Canvas looks like. Let's go through some of these things together. Tell me how you think you could use it in your classroom with just a few iPads. We also created a Canvas challenge that was open to all of our teachers to go through. Whether you're techie or not, I still think a good basic foundation is really good to have. So those teachers went through a challenge, and then once they felt that they were comfortable enough, we gave them a sandbox or a demo course that they could start creating and rolling out with their students. And then again, a big thing that I think that's helped also is that we've used Canvas to roll out district professional development and with our new teacher learning academy. So getting our staff members enrolled as students so that they view it from a student end first before they go in and actually start creating. Moving into the upcoming year, we'll have all of our 5th grade again. We'll have 8 elementary one-to-ones. We'll continue to have training, continue to model that support from the year before, and then providing building-specific professional development. Looking ahead, there's always things that you need to continue to look forward towards. And one of those things is I've seen a common theme here, especially today, if you've attended the sessions with curriculum building, is that eventually we want to have curriculum available for our teachers to go in and pull from, whether that's from the Canvas Commons or whether that is something that we've created as a district for our teachers to get into. A lot of that work will be based around a school visit. We went to see a school at Crown Point, Indiana, just to kind of see what their rollout is. We are big on understanding by design. So when I talk to you a little bit about kind of how we've rolled out teacher professional development first and then looking towards building our curriculum, we wanted to make sure our teachers have a good understanding of understanding by design UBD so that when we do get that curriculum in there, it's very similar for all of our teachers. We are also, as a district, looking at Teacher as Architect. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that book, The Modern Teacher, but it helps to really kind of bring everything our district is doing together cohesively with curriculum building, technology integration, and Canvas. So, a lot of people ask, are there expectations? I've heard different things today, which is kind of exciting. I've seen a very strict model of having templates. We have created, or we have kind of modeled off of a Canvas quality checklist and kind of made it our own. So I'm going to click in and I'll show you that here in a second. But is it an expectation? We don't expect teachers to know every single thing or apply every single thing on that checklist. It can be kind of overwhelming. The most important thing is to say to staff is what creates a quality, highly effective lesson? What makes a highly effective learning environment? Now, how can we take those elements and put it into a digital learning space? So I'll show you this checklist that incorporates just what we know is good teaching in a classroom and duplicating it into that space for our students. Our middle school, there are some of our administration that wanted to have a little bit more expectations for their teachers to make it more cohesive. So I will show you a template, 3 templates that one of our middle school administration decided this would be good for their teachers to make sure that it was very consistent for students and for parents when parents got in. But the idea is start small. So we say to our teachers, you know, if you can have this great expectation, and what happens is your outcome falls short of that a lot of the times. So there's a disappointment, and we want our teachers to know that reality is over here on the side. It's going to be messy. We're still learning and growing along the way. So let me see if I can pull up this quality course checklist here. And you guys will have access to this as well. So if you look at what should be found in a quality Canvas course, again, you can see there's a lot of different expectations here, but we aren't asking teachers to necessarily put every single one into their course. What we're asking is that they look at each box and make sure that they've included something that they know is highly effective when they're instructing, when they're lesson planning, and what's in our classroom. So Course information. We want to make sure that there's at least an image on the course, something that ties and relates to the course itself. There needs to be some sort of brief course description, and then links for parents and students to be able to go access further information in case they have more questions about the course. But that it's very clear so that students know where they're going. For organization, we would just like for our teachers, we encourage that they make it easy for students to navigate to today's lesson. We don't want them looking all over the place to find out what they're supposed to be doing for the day. So making sure that it's an easy workflow to move through. Objectives are really important. At the beginning, I have to be honest, I had teachers get in there and it was just a laundry list of links. And I said, okay, if I'm in your classroom, I can hear the great pedagogy that's going on. I know that you know your content really well. But if I was an outsider looking at this course, a parent, an administrator, I have no idea what happened in here today if I wasn't in here, just by a laundry list of outside links. So we want to make sure that there's objectives that are there, that are clear, that students understand that they know what they'll do, especially those kids that are absent or are at home for other reasons, that they understand what's expected. When you think about developing good lessons and thinking back to our work, our UBD work in our district, we want to make sure that there is a place to set the stage for lessons, that it's engaging for students, and there's some form of assessment that's there. Course content. If you think about a classroom, you think about all the different types of resources you have. In the elementary world, you usually have some sort of good mentor type text. You have manipulative resources available. We still want to duplicate that when we're creating course content. And then centering it around understanding of Webb's depth of knowledge. Is anyone in the room familiar with the Triple E framework? It's engaging, extending, and enhancing our content, our course content. I saw some nods with technology, so making sure you're picking the right tools. Did the technology tool, even if it's Canvas or the features in Canvas, is it helping with our student outcome, what we want our students to be able to do? And then, of course, the TPAC model. Is anyone in here familiar with TPAC and how to make sure that you bring content, pedagogy, and technology all together to have that sweet spot? So whether you're using outside extended tools or the tools inside Canvas, we want to make sure it's the best fit when you're designing course content. Student interaction. If you think about students in a classroom, we turn and talk to each other. We're in collaborative groups. There's teacher to student interaction, student to student. It's even difficult for me to stand up and do a presentation like this because it's just not my style. I want to be able to interact with you. I want to move around. I want you to turn and talk. So we want to take those really good elements in a classroom and make sure they're still applied online. So making sure that you have some sort of student-to-student interaction, a student-to-teacher interaction, student-to-content interaction. Something like that must be included somewhere in your lesson. And what's the purpose of that? What would be the benefit of having those elements on an online course? I'm asking anybody, so if you want to answer that, you can. If not, I'll answer it for you. What would be the benefit of having these kinds of interactions in an online course? Engagement. Anything else? When you have a great discussion and you walk out of a classroom, if it's really good, it's going to stick, right? But you're still going to walk out of the classroom. What's so great about having and capturing this in an online space? Students will be learned what they say. Can you say it again? They will learn and apply what they've been taught. Yeah, and it stays there. It lives there. You can go back to it. That's what's great about having a digital space where you can interact with discussions in Canvas, portfolio features in Canvas. You can come back to it. So that's really powerful. So are these concrete expectations? Do we go around and evaluate our student courses? No, we can't right now. We don't have the manpower to go into every teacher's course and evaluate and say, yes, have you done this? But it's a nice guide for teachers to make sure that they're on track. So let's see here. Oop. I think I got out of one thing. Let's see if I can get back to it. I want to show you this. So another of these templates that I was talking about, one of our instructional coaches created an iBook for this middle school that wanted to have some examples put in place for teachers to use. And I'm kind of all over the map. I've seen beautiful layout course templates. I've talked to my teachers about that. I've said, do you want something? You always have the teachers that say, yes, give me something, because I can't think like that. You also have teachers that are going to say, you know what, I like to create and personalize my own course the way that I like to teach. But we also wanted to provide some sort of templates for those teachers that said, hey, I need a little help thinking about this. So we have 3 templates that were made available for teachers in Canvas. One, template A, was that your homepage would contain some general information, but that always the today's lesson was right there on the homepage, so that you never had to click anywhere else, especially with the little kids. You know, you fall down the rabbit hole of clicks and you can't get back to it. So homepage, today's lesson. I'll show you that template here in a second. A template B is the front page, is also the today's lesson. I know it sounds kind of similar to template A. I'll show you how they two different here in a second. And then organizing your homepage with units. So there are buttons or links to click. Every day the student will go to that homepage, and if you're on Unit 1, you click on Unit 1. And I'm going to show you some examples of how some of our 5th grade teachers have done that. So this would be an example of template A. It's very basic. See if we can get it to load there. A banner, an introduction, a title, your essential questions, and then here it says click here for today's lesson. And then there are previous lessons that are still located on the front page. You know, you have the idea of you can close the modules if you want to, or you can have students navigate back to previous lessons here. Let's see. I can go back. Nope. Hang on one second. Well, you know what? It's in the next, it'll be in the module that I'm going to show you here when we get into our online course. Also, we talk about design matters. When we roll out professional development, we make sure that all of our teachers go through a little bit of a professional development on design matters. 3 clicks or less, again, it's that rabbit hole. We don't want our little kids in 1st grade clicking, and they want to click all over the place. So 3 clicks or less, it makes it easier to navigate. You've heard it if you've been in some elementary sessions earlier today with course design, that scroll of death. We do not want to have our kids scrolling and scrolling. So if you can put lessons into modules where they click to the next page, it just makes it a little easier to kind of navigate through and find your breadcrumbs back. Again, a standard course design, we've not, other than the middle school examples, we have not really defined one for our district yet. And I don't know if that's the right answer or not, but at this point we haven't. We just ask our teachers, be consistent in your own course so that your students, when they click to the next page or next lesson, they know what to expect, especially the little kids. Arranging your courses and modules and personalizing your course. Let me put this on the big screen. Okay, so what's really important is asking, getting feedback from your students. Okay, I had my 5th grade teachers in the pilot group, I had them do a Canvas gallery walk of their own courses. Kind of evaluate, not really like strictly, but look at each other's courses, give feedback. Ask your students, is this working for you? Are you able to tell where you're expected to go? I had one teacher who loves rainbow colors, and it looked like a rainbow had just splattered all over her page. And her students didn't know blue, what does that normally associate with? You have blue on a page. A hyperlink, so if something's blue and you've got blue there, kids are thinking, do you want me to click here? Red, you know, is that the most important thing? Some of the kids gave her feedback and said, I don't know what's important, Mrs. Jones, on this page. You need to be more specific. So we polled our students and we asked them, and they said, for a home page, what's the most important thing is that it's the current day's lesson. They don't want to have to look through and find where they're supposed to be. When they asked for what were some best recommendations, would you rather us have an organized course or would you rather have assignments created? And for some of our older students, they would rather have due dates on assignments so that when they look at their task, their to-do list, they know exactly what to do and when it's due. And then again, when we talked about creating stronger courses, appearance was really big for them. They wanted to make sure that it appealed to them, it was student friendly. And when we think about Canvas, I hear a lot of people say, well, that's something that's for college age students. But you'll see in some of the examples that I have that it can be very kid friendly. So that was number one for them. So what is the key to success? For us in Noblesville schools, what the key to success was starting with these pilot groups in order to build capacity. So if you could find teachers and pilot with them, provide really strong professional development, it's another key for success. To be able to build really good examples so that you can show other teachers. And then modeling so that teachers, administration, and support staff experience Canvas as a student. Those were the keys for success for our district. So what I want to do is I want to go in and show you some examples of courses that I have. If you go to this link, of course, and naturally I said, oh, I want them to turn and talk and explore during this presentation. But what I'm going to do is, you're all adults, so if you want to click and explore while I'm talking, that's fine. That's what it's there for. But I am going to walk you through a couple different examples of some of our elementary Canvas courses. So I'll leave that up here for a second so you can get into that if you want to. Any questions before we move on to some of the course design? Sure. Go for it.
Did you have a stand for the elementary students themselves inside each course? Did you have like a standard how to navigate Canvas orientation module or some type of training for the students?
That's a really good idea, actually. So the question was, do we have a standard module for helping students know how to navigate through Canvas? With teachers, we think of professional development. Oh, I'm going to have this Canvas challenge, and I want the teachers to go through it to get that professional development of how Canvas works. And we haven't done that. So has anyone done that with their students? It's a really good idea. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you've done?
Well, we're from Indiana as well.
Oh.
You know, a couple of years ago, we had... Hold on, wait, can I get a mic on him?
Yeah.
Is this on? Okay. So in Indiana, we have inclement weather, and one of our goals at our district became that if we were not going to make up snow days at the end of the year, but we were going to, with the state's approval, we were going to do them live and through Canvas. And that scared a lot of, especially our elementary teachers. And so our district, with some teachers and myself leading it, created some modules on lessons looking at each grade level skills that get looked at throughout the year. And then, so we did kind of a gradual release where the teachers then would teach the lesson with them in class. Then on a Friday, they gave another module that the kids were supposed to do with their parents. And then they did we had a third one that the kids were going to try independently. Of course, we never got that snow day that year that we had, but our teachers felt a lot more comfortable feeling like they could roll that out.
I really like the idea that you had the module that incorporated your parents. Because again, we have done parent support with Canvas and what that looks like when we talked about Parent Observer, but actually having maybe a parent go through that with their child is a good idea too. Anyone else? Go ahead, you have another question?
Just logistically, whenever it came to banners, did you guys create your teachers' banners, or did they have a way of customizing them on their own?
I believe there's a custom tool in Canvas that'll help you with templates, and there's banners inside that option.
And then in your schools, you have multiple grade level teachers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how did this fit in with traditional lesson planning, et cetera? Who was, if I'm the science team leader, was I responsible for the science module that week? Did you use different courses versus one homeroom course with all separate areas?
Okay.
So a lot of it comes down to, did you use grade load?
Okay, so I'm going to try to repeat that. It's okay. Okay, so you're asking,
with multiple teachers in the grade level, how that fit in with if one person's responsible for
Okay.
writing for science.
so if there's multiple teachers within a grade level, are teachers responsible for a certain strand of creating content? Science, okay. One way to look at Canvas, we try to tell our teachers, especially the ones that are not one-to-one right now, that are just kind of getting into it, easing into it, is looking at it as a plan book. So this is where you're planning your daily lessons. It doesn't mean that you can't project it on your screen, but if they get comfortable with this is where I'm starting to plan my curriculum and how's my curriculum, I think it's only going to be easier once you start to navigate into maybe a fuller implementation of Canvas with more students, of how you're using it one-on-one. I don't know if that helped answer that question or not. All of our teams, all of our elementary schools have PLCs. They plan during that time. But with our curriculum planning team, we've been building a lot of new content as a district. So we aren't there quite yet. So right now, teachers are just kind of planning together as groups, and PLCs are sort of on their own.
Do y'all use the grid book?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, and it pushes to Power School. Yeah.
What we've been doing is, thanks. So we use Skyward integration, and so teachers have their courses automatically created for them, which is kind of stressful for them because they don't get created until a couple weeks before school.
Right.
So we created master courses at each grade level, and then teachers collaboratively build there, and then just pull from there into their courses when their courses get created. And that way, they have the collaborative aspect, but they also have the freedom, once they import it, to change it however they want.
That's a great way to plan ahead before school starts. We have also had those sandbox courses, those demo courses for teachers to create real content before the school year even started. So yeah, very similar. Any other questions before we take a peek? If you are navigating through, that's what I want you to do. So I won't look at it like, oh, they're not paying attention. I want you to click around. So I created a kind of a training course. This is a free public course. You can get in here and use whatever you want to use in here. I will also put it in the comments, but it's a public course in Canvas. Basically, what I wanted you to do is kind of look at what a sample of a classroom page could look like, a home page. We've got that image right there. I have sort of a brief overview introduction of what I want you to do within this course, and then I have our essential questions and our learning objectives. So really what I'm hoping that you take away from this session today is that you have been able to develop a better understanding of how one school rolled out Canvas. We're not fully implemented in the elementary just yet, so I'm excited to come back and maybe share that at that time. We want you to be able to identify the elements of a student-friendly course, analyze and kind of evaluate that, and then select one example from today that you can take back and share with others. So if you can take one thing back from today, I want you to be able to share that with others. I've also included, again, the quality course checklist here, and then the iBook. Again, because we didn't have a kindergarten classroom last year, I don't have examples yet to show that, but I will for sure coming up. So here's an example of a first grade classroom. Again, homepage, very simple for our first grade friends. I have not linked to every single link that this teacher has, but if you were to click on Reader's Workshop for that day, you would see more kid-friendly icons. Kids like pictures, especially at this age. They know that if they can't read group lesson, they know those markers are taking them to the group lesson for the day. So they would navigate there, and then here you would have very simple and objective teaching and some sort of anchor chart, and that's very basic, simple. Same classroom, whole group instruction. There's your objective. They were reading this book. It's not solely online, it's blended. So there's times where this teacher is going to stop and read a picture book to his classroom. He wants them to interact, but he has listed out what he wants them to do before, during, and after the text. He wants them to turn and talk. He's lesson planned very simply, but lesson planned on this page. So that if a student's not there or an administrator wants to get in, they know what they did that day. And then they have a final interaction piece here at the bottom, which takes them to a discussion. Again, you don't see like a complete structure, but they have those quality course checklist items we're asking for. Again, objective, and then they've linked to outside sources. That's what's so great about Canvas, embedding those extra tools that help support teaching and learning. If we go back here, in that same classroom, Reader's Workshop, they're going to go and work with a teacher in a small group at their teacher table. They know that they're in some sort of color, so they can navigate to that color, And here would be a lesson for this small group guided reading. So we have before reading, we have the text that's linked in there for students to open up in Notability. We live in Notability. Is anyone familiar with Notability? Okay, yeah. So we've got a text that kids can interact with, highlight while they're sitting with their teacher and interact with the text. And then again, they're going into a discussion about, they're going to write about their reading. Is there a specific grade level anyone would really like to see? Well, I don't have kindergarten. Sorry. Fifth grade. Okay, so let's take a look at some of our fifth grade classrooms. This is a math classroom. It would be, so as our fifth grade started to progress from our pilot teachers to the second year, this is a second year pilot teacher, they had everything in one course, and then they started to open up to multiple courses, so that when these kids go to middle school, they're going to know that here's my English course, here's my social, my history course. So this was a math course, and here she's got her units laid out. Then there's a home page for that specific unit, and the kids would navigate to the lesson for the day. So here would be, oh, sorry, I didn't navigate that the right way. Where did I put it? What lesson was that? Nope. Here it is. Okay, she has her objective, her vocabulary, her math message. She's planned her lesson out right here. There's an interactive piece of watching a video, and then she has a place to open up in Notability and her homework. So it's very predictable. It's the same. This is more very formatted template. Let's go back and look at a social studies teacher. Let's do a different one now. Let's do this one. So social studies, so this is a home page. This is a theme around her classroom or her minions. If you looked at, again, a social studies home page, they navigated to this unit. Within the unit, she has her big essential question. All of her standards are in this one. And then here would be a lesson. So she has what she wants her students to walk away, and that red, that's the most important thing. Her objective, real world standard, and ways to be able to link out to other apps and other resources that help support learning. So any other questions about some of these examples? Do you have a question?
It's kind of an overall question.
Okay.
Elementary. I was recently talking to a teacher, and she's like, no way Canvas is going to help me. We're a hands-on, we don't want to do this digital platform. So how did you kind of get your schools to kind of
see the blend?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great question. So how did I, in professional development, roll out so that teachers understand that it's not just living online from the beginning of school to the end of school for every single subject area? Elementary, we want kids in books. We want pencils in their hands. We want book boxes, notebooks. We do not want to completely navigate away from that. So in our training, I pitched the idea of the day in the life of a digital learner. And so I went around and I captured all of our pilot classrooms and what they were doing. And I created a big video, and I had the teachers watch it. And I said, okay, tell me first, what do you think digital learning is? What do you think a day in the life of a digital learner looks like? And they all listed these things. Oh, kids on the iPad all day long, screen time, some of the typical responses you might hear. And I showed the video, and I came back and I said, now what did you observe? And they said, oh, I saw a student with her iPad, but she also had a book, and she's reading it, and there are Post-its in there, but she's blogging on her reader's response. So if you can take teachers also into model classrooms, it's the best form of PD that they will ever receive, by being actually present in a blended classroom. So I don't know if that helps, but any other questions before we wrap up the session? Yes, so I'm going to give you my contact information. I also would like you to, if you're willing, I asked for, at the end, one of the things that you enthusiastic Canvas seekers would do as part of your learning objectives would be to screenshot or take an image or picture of this image at the top, and then I want you to tweet out with our conference hashtag one takeaway that you've taken away about Canvas in the elementary. Yes, you can, because it is possible to do. And it can look student-friendly without feeling so structured with too many expectations. So if you can do that, that would be great, and I want to look for those and see those, and hopefully they'll be floating around. So my contact information is right here. Okay. And that's my school email address and Twitter handle. And I encourage you all to continue to ride that knowledge wave, share resources with each other. That's the best way we can learn from one another. So thank you for being a part of our session today.